if you're a local tax prepare company, and like how really do you set yourself apart? It's kind of an interesting question. Like you want people to come into your office, let's say, or at least give you a call on the phone. I was like, well, or you're an insurance agent, or you're a mortgage broker. Any of these things that are very, like, people just shop price, right? They just, well, what's your rate? Okay, I'm going to check other rates, and then I'm going to go with the cheapest. Unless you can get them to actually like you, and they'll be willing to pay a couple extra dollars to go with you.
One of the best examples. Thank you for bringing that up because it made me think of this example. Lawyers. Often lawyers are going to do commercials and do billboards. If you drive to New Orleans, if you're driving through Louisiana, particularly the New Orleans area, coming to Texas, you're going to be peppered with these billboards of this lawyer. I don't know his name or his firm or whatever, but it's like it's almost 2 per mile, or at least 1 per mile. At the very least, I mean, it's outrageous how many billboards this cat has, and it's him in a suit, regular looking dude. Okay, but he peppers New Orleans with it. It's got to work. So I'm talking about it. I don't know who he is, but I know there's a ton of them. Okay, now in Austin, when I'm driving to North Austin, to Pflugerville, where my mom lives, there's another lawyer. He's got dreadlocks. He's got a T-shirt. His name is something, the rock star lawyer. I'm calling that cat all day. Like, got a Jamaican background. This dude looks like he's been in trouble with the law before himself and became a lawyer. Like, his billboard with his dreadlocks and his casual look and the way the copy on it, that I'm attracted to that more than I am the billboard of the guy in New Orleans. He's got a billion of them, but it's just a regular dude in a suit. I think that, to your point, if you're an accountant or if you're a lawyer or if you're working with those types, like, we all get that vision. I forget what it's called. I forget the technical term for it, where we just start to filter things out. It all looks the same. All lawyers wearing a suit looks the same. Then all of a sudden there's a lawyer with dreadlocks that stood out. Okay, that's marketing right there. Is getting people to stop, whether they're scrolling, whether they're driving, and ideally you don't want to like take your eye off the road too much. But if they just notice you while they're driving, that's a win. If they watch your commercial, that's a win. That's the whole point. In order to do that, you got to be different.
I think you just dropped several knowledge bombs on us. And number one, it sounds simple when I'm going to repeat it back, but I don't, like you're saying with the plumbing and HVAC and companies that you work with, they're too scared to even do this. But number one is you get somebody to stop. You have to get them to stop scrolling, stop whatever they're doing, take a peek. You have to get their attention first. Then you have to stand out. You have to be different. And you don't want to differentiate yourself on price, really, because then it's a race for the bottom, right?
Yep.
So get someone to stop, identify yourself as different, push away the people who don't relate to you, and then you attract people that do relate to you. It's interesting that you do say that you would call the dreadlocks guy, because just thinking about it from a perspective of somebody who's wanting a lawyer, like you're saying that the one guy looks like a regular guy, or I guess he looks like a regular lawyer. When I'm picturing a lawyer, it's just like a guy in a suit, right? Somebody with dreadlocks typically I wouldn't picture as a lawyer. So why doesn't that dissuade you from being attracted to him? Like, yeah, sure, maybe you can relate to him, but aren't you worried, based on that look as well, on the opposite side of it, that maybe the actual work may not be what you're looking for?
Not off the top of my head, because what that lawyer did was just in an ad establish potential likability. This is emotional, so there's no logical decision going on. There's no like, oh, I wonder what he got on his bar exam, and I wonder it's just like, yo, this was like a guy that I would have smoked a joint with back in the day. I think I might like him. Let me call him.
So you'd hire a lawyer that you would have smoked a joint with back in the day?
Yeah, because I can trust you. because we if we smoked if I'm smoking a joint with you, we're talking and we're having what we might perceive to be deep conversation, which might sound stupid to somebody who's not high, but when I'm with that type of person, there was a trust there. So if you remind me of that type of situation, then there's a likability factor happening. And okay, likability is what makes people, it's a purchasing factor.
That's so interesting because I would be completely different, and this is a perfect example of how you're not going to appeal to everyone. And if you try to appeal to both you, Chris Gray, and me, Dimitri, you would get neither of us. If you're trying to get both of us, you would have to only get one of us. Because for me, when I'm picking a lawyer, I would be interested in what's your, I like the first questions that. Now you may ask these too. You may ask the guy once you call him, but you called him. He's got his foot in the door now. So maybe that's a different point. But I would want to see the guy who has proven track record, and I would actually prefer the straight laced, never been in trouble, like just got straight A's in school, never smoked a joint guy to be my lawyer, or my mortgage broker for that matter. I just want you to be fully focused on the numbers and the task at hand, and I don't really even care that much whether I like you or not. So we're evaluating at a completely different level, and that's just, that goes to show how picking your audience is important in marketing.
Yes, exactly. Like it's that the hippie looking lawyer is going to repel you, and that's good for him. He's going to attract somebody like me who's like, yo, I like you, man. Let's just go lose a case together. Maybe, like, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, we hired this hippie-looking guy to be our wedding DJ. He had this big afro headband. As far as wedding DJ goes, he did a good job.
Well, good. Well, good.
I probably wouldn't hire the straight-laced guy to do that one. So yeah, that's, huh. I don't think, like, I can tell you for a fact, the company that I run, the agent marketing agency, the at least from what I can tell, we don't um, I don't think we are doing a good job of picking our audience. Actually, we may be doing a good job for our clients, and I think actually we are doing, but if specifically marketing my agency to get more clients, I'm not sure that we are.
In our agency, the guy who helped my business partner who founded it, it's built on values that he's a very very much a part of, are very much they are very important to him. And then he's done a good job of finding other companies that have similar values like that. And I have to give him, for the most part, I have to give him props for that. I have to give him props for that. But here's something else. I know that we don't, our episode's running a little longer. So the values of the company that I work for are very conservative, and so I'm very cognizant when I'm in those circles to respect that and respect that brand. Right, it's business. Um, and I also feel like, Dimitri, you tell me if I'm wrong. Um, I feel like, if at least in Texas or just even across the nation overall, like Christian values is almost like a hack. Let me tell you why. I was researching, just like we have these things called, ad spies. There's literally the company I subscribe to is called Ad Spy, but you have all these ad spy softwares, and you can research ads that ran on Facebook, Google, native that won historically. You can go back as far as they let you go back. And I just ran it open. Like, I didn't have any specifications. I'm like, look, show me your top ads on Facebook since 2015, with no real specifications other than the top ads. And as I'm going through it, the top ads were either had something to do with Christianity. They were like a Christian funnel. At the end of the day, it was a Christian funnel or some kind of Christian quote, or animals or babies. But it was Christian, 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 Christian. So it's almost like, if you can lean into that in a lot of ways from a business perspective, it's almost like a hack. I don't know where I came up with this or why I'm even talking about it, but it's something I noticed earlier this week.
Yeah, and we were talking about Christianity on a previous episode and how people may not be living the values truly, but they could be borrowing the credibility by
Yeah,
associating themselves as like we're a Christian business or we're Christian founders, and that definitely works. It's even worked on me. I can tell you, I was looking for a mechanic a couple years ago in a new area, and I didn't know anybody in it. So this company had, they're like, we're Christian. I'm like, okay, I'll give them a shot because
right.
they're riding on the credibility. And mechanics are somebody that you need to trust. And then at the end of the story, I started going to a different mechanic because I think they were overcharging me. And there's another thing that experience actually what made a tiny dent in for Christianity. So like somebody representing it poorly. They were using the credibility and they took advantage of it, in my
Which then
opinion.
hurts people like my business partner, or this cat's true Christian, bro. Walks it like he talks it. Really, this is the these are the true values. This is how the company is ran. I respect the mess out of that. But now, let's say if he was a mechanic, let's say he was in the mechanic business, you came to his shop and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Christian," and you had the experience you had with the prior Christian mechanic. You've already lost trust for him because it's been that reputation has been impacted. Yeah, but anyways,
Yeah. Hmm. Well, all right. We can wrap it up now, and I think some of the biggest takeaways are well, first of all, more of a macro level is how do you want your brand to be perceived? Who do you want your base to be? You have to pick who you want your base to be. It can be related to you as the founder. It can, or you can just pick whatever base you want if you want to. It doesn't really have to be related to you. So pick your base and then lean into it. What am I missing?
you got it, man. That's it.
And then get attention, stand out, and then actually have a good product, of course. But we're not talking about that since we're talking about just the marketing side. Um, Plenty of good marketing out there that had bad products that then kind of fell apart. And maybe that was Carl's Jr.'s downfall or Hardee's, whatever they are. Maybe they just didn't have a good product. I also have never eaten there, so my guess is it's probably not good. That's my guess. It's not good.
Yeah, yeah.